There is something special about old BMW Airheads. The sound, the feel, the simplicity of these machines. But they can also be problematic. If you are anything like me, thinking about buying an old Airhead but not knowing where to start, this is my journey of owning one, beginning with absolutely no experience at all. Here's the truth nobody tells you. Owning a 50-year-old bike like the BMW R100RS or any Airhead isn't romantic. It's work, and if you neglect it, it will leave you stranded. But if you care for it, if you stay on top of the basics, these machines will outlast you. So in this video, I'll show you in 4 chapters what it really takes to keep one of these machines alive. Where to start with the basic service. What you need to watch out for if you plan to buy one. What almost derailed my ride from Germany to Ireland. Remember that these bikes were built to go further than most, and they ask something really small in return. Let's start with the basics, because with these bikes, basic maintenance is everything. These are most of the parts and oils that I use to service my motorcycle. I purchase most my service consumables from Louise.eu, while bike-specific parts I buy from buyermotor.de, who specialize in parts for BMW Airheads and not only. You're not just changing oil once a year, you're constantly checking, adjusting and inspecting. All models up to 1987, a minor service is carried out every 3 months. That is engine oil plus valve clearance checks and cylinder heads torque checks and a list of other checks. All models up to 1987, the major service is carried out every 6 months. That means changing all oils, engine, transmission, fork, brakes, spark plugs, check the valve clearance and cylinder heads, torques, and a series of other checks. These are the tools that I carry with me all the time on the bike. I use them to also service my machine. Since Brexit, I avoid buying parts from the UK due to the import charges and unpredictable taxes to Ireland. There is no issue finding parts. They exist, but not always where you need them, and almost never when you need them. Engine oil and engine oil filter. The engine oil filter is tricky to change, but it can be done with a simpler 10mm spanner. Transmission oil. Drive shaft oil. Final drive oil. Battery checks. brake fluid, brake pads front and rear. Let's talk about the stuff that modern bikes don't need. This is where all bikes separate the committed from the casual. Valve clearance adjustment. This has to be done regularly. Cylinder head nuts tightness. Nothing is hidden, everything is easy to access, and everything matters. Compression test. Do you have any other tips for basic maintenance? Please leave a comment below. If you plan to buy an Airhead, I would use T-Clocks checks before riding one. T-Clocks stands for tires, controls, lights, oils, chassis and stands. But I'm going to start with lights and electrics, because in my humble opinion, the first thing to watch for with these bikes are the lights and the electrics. Give them a good test before you buy one, and also before every ride. Check the headlamp on high and low beam, turn signals, brake lights, dashboard lights, position lights and horn function. When you start the bike, you listen. And you listen carefully before you trust it. Now let's talk about the real problems, not maintenance, but what happens when something fails on the road. The problem that I had in mind with old machines is not that they fail, is that you never quite know when. My ride from Germany to Ireland carried this question: will it make it home? So what are the critical issues that I managed to avoid? The morning after I got back from Germany, I walked into the shed and I saw a big puddle of oil under the bike. At first glance, it looked like a fork seal issue, but I needed to take a closer look. And sure enough, the seal had popped and oil was leaking out. When I drained the left fork, I realized I'd lost about half the oil. Most of it had leaked through the failed seal. The right fork, on the other hand, still had the correct oil level. Then it hit me. I'd actually seen that same puddle on the last day of my trip in a hotel car park in France. But at the time I had no choice. I just ignored it and carried it on. Fingers crossed, and somehow I made it back to Ireland. My rear light didn't work. At times, randomly it stopped working, and I had a near miss returning home at night in the rain from a long journey. For the rear light problem, I worked the other way around, starting from the back and tracing each connection forward until I reached the fuse board. I remember the dark and wet night ride from the west of Ireland in December, when so many drivers reminded me of the danger of riding without a rear light. I don't think I was ever as nervous riding my motorcycle. After completing the service, I wanted to take the bike out for a test ride when this happened. The bike was dead. I started at the battery and traced the circuit back to the starter relay. That's when I found the issue, but only after I checked that the starter relay was in good working order. The main cable feeding the starter relay had come loose, likely due to corrosion. I noticed that I can use a simple electrical connector to fix the issue. For a moment, I thought, what if this had happened on my way back from Germany? I pictured myself on the side of the motorway trying to chase down an electrical fault. Seems like my guardian angel was on duty, because it only happened once I made it home. And now, the final truth. There is really only one major concern with these old machines: electrical gremlins. But the good news is, nothing here is overly complicated. Once you understand and sort the wiring, you are in control. No black box, no ECU, no sensors really, just very simple circuits. That's what you're choosing when you buy an old Airhead. You don't maintain it to show off, you maintain it to keep it alive. And in a way, you are continuing the work of everyone who designed it, built it, maintained it, and loved it before you. These bikes were built to go farther than most, but in return they ask for something simple: that you actually care. In the next video, I'll take this old machine out for a proper test ride along the Wild Atlantic Way. A 14-hour journey through the narrow roads of the Barra Peninsula and over the mountains via the Hilly Pass. Thanks for watching. And until next time, remember to just go ride.